Hello and welcome to NJ Thrive's Small Business Webinars. Today is Thursday, January 11th, and you are attending one of our weekly webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. Welcome to the webinar. We appreciate you attending. If you are new here, thank you for attending, and we hope that you continue on to you stay with us for this webinar and many more to come. And if you've been attending our webinars, if you've been attending our tech series webinars, thank you for sticking with us. And we hope you find value in them. I am your host, Uzma Sheikh, and you are attending our network's NJSBDC's webinar. So NJSBDC stands for America's New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network. It's a little mouthful, but that's what the acronym is for. It's a statewide program powered by the SBA, Small Business Administration, and partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with three main things. And those things are no cost small business consulting. That is correct. It is at no cost to you. Training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. If you look at the map, on the right, it's the map of New Jersey, of course, in all of the 21 counties, I believe. And wherever you see the small SBDC logos is where our physical centers are located. So if you'd ever like to attend, just go to njsbdc.com, search for our centers, and you can attend them either for events or for consulting. You just have to make an appointment, I believe. Now, I mentioned tech team and tech series. So our tech team for the network is an exclusive NJSBDC technology commercialization team, providing technical support and guidance to eligible innovators for SBIR and STTR grants to fund the R&D towards commercialization of tech innovations. So we can help you with no-cost pitch to proposal consulting, trainings, and other tech resources. You can learn more at njsbdc.com/tech team. And if you are here, then you know our ritual. I ask every one of our attendees to please go in the chat to share where you're from, what you do, what your company is about. You know, you don't really have to share all the details, but just let us know which industry you're in or what kind of product you have, if you have, what kind of service. And I like to say that you never know who you find, your supporter, your bestie in business, your cheerleader, investor, whoever it is. So feel free to do that in the chat. All right, but on our agenda, we have a couple of headlines from our small business community here in New Jersey. So we always make sure that you are up to date on what's happening. Then we have our presentation and Q&A session after. These are the headlines that we're sharing for this week. All the links will be shared in the chat. Make sure to look at them on your own time if you'd like to go through them in detail. The first is from NJEDA, published just a couple of days ago. They are supporting advanced growth of artificial intelligence industry companies in New Jersey. Recently announced AI Hub at Princeton University, powered by the NJEDA. This will enable growth of AI in New Jersey. Excuse me. All right, this is innovation related, of course, so perfect for our tech companies in attendance today. High growth sectors with the goal of creating family sustaining career opportunities. And let's see, what else is there? Just want to pick up some main points. One AI focus that has recently approved for support under the NJEDA's Angel Match program. That's another great program to keep an eye on. Has found success, AI-driven predictive insights. And the Angel Match is designed to channel critical capital investment dollars to New Jersey startup companies so they can grow here, stay here, and create jobs here. It is part of the SSBCI program. And yeah, there's also mention of New Jersey Innovation Fellows Program. So please, this is a great press release to read through. Another is from SBA, actually, Growth Accelerator Fund. Competition opens January 8th. It opened 2 days ago to expand and strengthen its national innovation ecosystem. Organizations will compete in 2 stages for $50,000 to $200,000 in prizes. Will be awarded up to $3 million in stage 1 prizes. Pretty cool. Here are the theme areas that are mentioned. If this is of interest to you, we highly recommend that you attend the webinars that they're having for pre-application and explanation webinar. They are online, and you can register at those websites. Third, SBA marks 1-year anniversary of Veteran Small Business Certification Program. That CERT program approved more than 10,000 applications, averaging 15-day processing times. Pretty cool. And yeah, these are all the details regarding the VetCert program. These are also requirements. So if you fit in, if you qualify, then you should definitely check it out. And last is from NSF I-Core Hub, Northeast Region. It's an event coming up Tuesday, January 16th. So in 5 days from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Learn about the typical ownership split for startup success, and you can register at this Eventbrite page. All right, so now that we are done with our headlines, again, all the links have been shared in the chat. Some things to keep in mind, rules that we invite you to follow. Type questions in the Q&A box, not the chat box. So alongside to the chat box, there is a Q&A box. When we have our Q&A session, that's where we'll answer the questions from. So if they're in the chat, they might get lost with links sharing, comments, things like that. If you would like to receive the presentations that our speakers will be sharing, then please complete a brief survey. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to hear more about, and we'll do our best. Once you complete that survey, links will be available to you. We do have a special guest speaker today. Before our main speaker, we have Lori, who's the Regional Instructor Trainer and Diversity and Inclusion Lead at NSF I-Core Northeast Region. Lori, we appreciate you joining us and sharing information about the I-Core Hub. Please go ahead, share your screen, and tell our audience the wonderful things that you have to share.
Great. And I want to thank Uzma and the tech team for inviting me and Chris Picardo inviting me here today so I can talk about I-Core. I'm going to be sharing my screen and see. Can you see it okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So again, I'm so glad to have everybody here today to listen to me talk about I-Core. Off the bat, I'll educate you. I-Core, the I in I-Core stands for innovation, and the P and the S are silent. So if you say I-Core and not I-Corps, you'll immediately sound like you know what you're talking about. So I'm Lori Dars, and I'm with Rutgers University. I'm the Associate Director for Economic Development and Innovation. I'm affiliated with both the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences and also Rutgers Professional Science Master's Program. But I do spend a good portion of my time working on I-Core related programs. I've been involved with I-Core in various capacities for about 10 years now. And I'm currently an instructor, trainer, and the DEI lead for the Northeast Region I-Core Hub. So a little bit about our hub. It stretches all the way from Connecticut down to Delaware with a large focus on New Jersey. Princeton University is our lead, and it also includes NJIT, Rutgers, and Rowan University. We are funded by the National Science Foundation, and what we do is we offer training programs, research, and events and programs for innovators, all focused around the I-Core program, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail in a minute. One thing I wanted to mention is we're very open and inclusive in our hub. And innovators anywhere within this region can join our programs. Most of our programs are free. Many of them are virtual. And you do not need to be affiliated with one of the partner schools to join. We started with our hub in 2022, and I wanted to just show a few of the numbers from 2023. We've already had a significant impact. And I can tell you firsthand, after working with this program for so many years, that it does work. And it does help innovators with their companies and to learn about what they're working on. You can see some of the funding there, but graduates from our programs do go on to get other programs and other awards. Before I go to my next slide, I wanted to talk about why we need I-Corps, what makes it important. And I'm sure many of you have heard the adage that startups fail, right? It's hard to be an innovator, and many startups are going to fail. And when I ask participants during I-Corps training, why do they think startups fail? They typically say funding or the team. And both of those are definitely very important, but not the main reason why startups fail. So the main reason they fail is people are building something or creating a product or service that there's not a market for. And that happens far too frequently. I-Corps was created back in 2011 by Steve Blank at Stanford University, and he worked with program directors from the National Science Foundation to really help solve this problem for academic research. And one of the key components was getting them to focus on the customer and the customer's needs rather than the innovation. And that's really the key component of I-Corps. At the Hub, I mentioned we offer national training and other events, but our flagship program is our regional training, and it's called Propel. And it's typically 4 sessions over 4 weeks. Most of the Propel programs are virtual. We are going to be offering them on various campuses as well. But again, they're open to the community. So any of you that have an innovation and want to join one of our programs, you do have to have a team of at least 2. And what we're going to do during that program is give you training and have you start to begin to understand who are your potential customers and what kind of value could you be offering to them. Our training is focused on getting you, Steve Blank's famous words, getting you out of the building and having you actually do those interviews. And that is the focus of I-Corps. It's why I've highlighted on this slide. You will actually go out and talk to people, hopefully way more than 15, but that's our requirement for our regional program. In addition to the training, we also offer amazing teaching team and amazing mentors to help you. We offer reimbursement for travel and other expenses related to customer discovery. And it's considered an NSF grant if you do get accepted to go through Propel. What's most relevant for this group that's on here today is that you're much more likely to be successful in your quest to get an SBIR or STTR grant, which I know you're going to hear about later today, if you've had I-Corps training, regional training, and then there's a next level national training. But if you understand really who your customer is and what your value is, you're going to write a much better application. So I just want you to think about that, and hopefully you'll consider applying for our next program. It's in April. The applications are due by March 12th. So you have some time, if you don't have a team, to hopefully find a second team member. And I've given you the website below where you can apply for our I-Corps training. I also wanted to mention a number of programs we offer for individuals. We have a few series. We have Innovating Together, which is dealing with partners. So we've done, just to give you a sample, we did a program with the University City Science Center out of Philly. So you could learn about their opportunities that they offer, the programs they run. So we host those every couple months. We also have an Entrepreneurship Essentials series, and Uzma gave information. We just changed the date for that program yesterday. So I have an update on the slide. It's now going to be offered February 13th, and it's on Founders Equity. And then we also offer a half-day I-Corps training program. So if you're an individual and you don't have a team and you want to find out what I-Corps is all about, we have a Novus program, and they're typically 3 to 4 hours. We feed you, we give you some exercises. It's a great opportunity to network and learn about what I-Corps is all about. And we're hosting one February 16th in the morning at Rutgers, New Brunswick on our College Avenue campus. And I've given registration information here. I'll also share my slides and provide some links in the chat after I finish. So we have a lot of great programs for individuals at the Hub. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to just give a brief overview of I-Corps. I've added my contact information here as well. The 2 last things I wanted to leave you with is, if you're going for SBIR, STTR, and you're looking to partner with a university researcher, there's a great website, Research with Rutgers, which allows you to find experts in your field. That website is here on this link. And I also encourage you to sign up for our Hub newsletter, which provides not only information of things going on in our Hub, but we include all kinds of opportunities, events, and programs anywhere within the region. Lots of great information for you. So I encourage you to go to our website, top right corner, and sign up for our Hub newsletter. Thanks. That's all I have for you. And I'm going to be sticking around and I'll be answer questions in the Q&A if you want to send them to me. So thanks, Uzma and team. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk.
Of course, we appreciate it so much. Thank you, Lori. All right, so Lori's sticking around to answer a couple of questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the Q&A. Now it's time for our presenter, David Linz, to come on. Dave, thank you for doing this for us as always. And let me see if, there we go. So the slides are shared and there we go. The stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you. My name is David Linz. We're going to be talking about the federal SBIR STTR program today and how you might be able to tap up to $2 million for that. And let me answer one question that I've seen pop up in the chat a couple of times. Yes, we are a New Jersey agency, but a portion of our program is funded by the federal government, and we have a special approval by the federal government to help companies in other states if, in fact, they do not have a local SBIR assistance program. So I would say that you need to check first in your local state, check with your SBDC or other regional economic development contacts that you might have there to see if you have a local SBIR support within your state. There are many states have this. And if not, then we have approval to be able to help companies in other states as well. So I'll just get that out of the way just to start off our discussion. I'm supposed to talk about myself first, which is I hate to talk about, but okay, I have 50 years of professional experience, engineer, manager, research, business development, entrepreneur, and so forth. 20 plus years in SBIR experience. I have been a reviewer for the federal agencies, so I understand the proposals from both sides, for both writing them and reviewing them. I developed state support programs in Wisconsin, and also I had what's called the Tibbetts Award, which is an award they give to people for SBIR assistance. And I've also been an I-Corps mentor. So I'm well familiar with that program, and I endorse everything that Lori said. This is a very outstanding way for you to begin to think about your business model and customer development, which is really important as you start your business. So let's get on with SBIR. We're going to talk about what it is, some reasons why you might think about pursuing it, explaining a little more detail about the program. And then mainly, I'll spend most of the time talking about if this is a fit for you. Is this a fit for your company? And then just give you some pointers on how to get started and how we might help you. So let's get started. First of all, it's a federal program that's run by 11 different agencies, but it's administered or overseen by the Small Business Administration. And that is you'll see, you can get a lot of information about SBIR at this website. And in fact, there are tutorials on that website that give you detailed information on a lot of the things I'll be covering today. So if you really want to pursue this and get some more detailed information, this is a good place to start. Now, what is SBIR? Let's look at the words right off the bat and see what it is. Small Business Innovation Research. What we got here, it's a small business. SBA defines that at less than 500 employees. I will say that mostly in the SBIR program, it's much smaller businesses that go for funding for this. As small as 1 or 2 people. I would say that you need to have a team, but companies that are as small as 1 or 2, 3 people can be successful in this program. Innovation, the second word is innovation. Innovation implies there's both technical novelty and technical risk. And I'll talk about this more in a moment, but we're talking about things that are in fact new innovations, new technology, something that you might actually go out and get a patent for, or maybe you've just got a patent, but something that is in fact new and novel. And in fact, it still incurs some risk. If it's very straightforward for you to carry this through the market, then go for it. That's low technology risk or low business risk. Go for it. But for situations where there's a high degree of technical novelty and technical risk, that's a good fit for SBIR. Research, the last word is research. And the idea is you are going to be doing research in this project. You're not going to be doing market development. You're not going to be doing marketing. You're not going to be writing patents. You're not going to be doing any of that. You're going to be doing technical research to fill whatever technology gaps or technical issues remain in order for you to prove that your idea is feasible. And when I say feasible, I mean feasible both from a technical point of view, and also it's feasible in a way that will allow it to be commercialized and has commercial merit. So there's a second program that 6 of the agencies have. It's called STTR program. That was created specifically to help commercialize technology that comes out of universities. So if you're partnering with a university, you might be able to access the STTR program as well. For the sake of this discussion, I'm going to make those both the same. I'm going to use this SBIR. And when I say that, you know that I'm referring to both SBIR and STTR because they're very similar in the way that you would apply and execute the project. Okay, so moving on. Top 10 reasons you might consider this. Well, first of all, there's 11 different federal agencies. I've listed just 6 of them there: National Institutes of Health, Department of Defense, NASA, National Science Foundation, Department of Agriculture, Department of Energy. And they're providing about $4.5 billion every year that are earmarked specifically for small businesses. And you can get up to $2 million per project directly for your small business to do research and development to develop an innovative technology. That's a substantial amount of money. And so here's the agencies. I read off the first 6, I think. In addition to that, you see there's Department of Commerce, Homeland Security, the Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Transportation, Department of Education. And these are listed in the order of the size of their budgets. So these ones at the bottom of the list have very small budgets, very few projects funded every year. Department of Defense has literally hundreds of projects every year that they fund. Okay, moving on. There's 6,000 awards every year, 70 different solicitations, around 1,500 topics. So the point here is that this is a very broad program, and whatever you're working on, if it's new technology, there might be a good home for it. Just New Jersey itself is, this is the last year I had data for. I don't have the 2023 data yet, but 107 awards, 67 companies, $79 million. So this is something that's happening. It's happening in New Jersey, and we can help you to access this funding. Another reason to consider, this is non-dilutive funding. And hopefully you know what that means. I mean, it means you don't have to give up stock in your company. You don't have to pay it back. They are grants and contracts. It's not free. I say it's not free because you have to work for it. And if you don't do what you say you're going to do, you'll have to pay the money back. But it is in fact free money in the sense that you don't have to give up stock. You don't have to pay it back. It allows you to build intellectual property that you own. In other words, the government doesn't own this. If you develop something new and it gets patented, you own it. The government doesn't own it. That's pretty significant. It allows you to build technical staff. I know the small business I was involved in, there in New Jersey, we used federal grants to hire some very key technical people that were world class, and we couldn't afford that if we didn't get the grant. And these are important people that are still part of the company, important part of the company. So that's another potential reason you might think about it. It's a vehicle to leverage other people's facilities, equipment, and experience, and to build relationships with the federal agencies, with national labs, universities, not-for-profit research. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a small business and you say, oh, I really need to get to somebody at this large company and maybe use some of their test facilities or whatever, work with them. That's a very difficult thing for you to do on your own. And if you don't have any funding for it, they usually don't pay much attention to you. But if you come to them and say, I'm pursuing this SBIR grant, we can get $250,000 or $2 million, and I want to work together with you. Well, this is a vehicle for building those kinds of relationships. Another thing that's important, and I've heard this time and time again from investors, having a peer-reviewed federal award demonstrates credibility to investors and to partners. You're gonna endure some scrutiny to get funded in this program, and it's a very rigorous process with peer reviews, and getting this kind of award does demonstrate credibility for both investors and partners. Number 9, it allows you to develop products and services that are for sale. In fact, it establishes a sole source marketing position with the government. And so this really is a technology commercialization program. This isn't really a research program. This is all about building new technology, building businesses around it. And lastly, I tell people that the process, if you do it diligently and rigorously, this process is worth the time, even if you don't get funded, because in the process of doing this, you're going to do some serious strategic planning. You're going to meet some people and partners that are value for your business. So certainly we want to help you get an award, but by pursuing this in a very diligent and methodical way, you're going to be doing some really good thinking and planning and networking. So finally, let's talk about the program in more specific detail. There's a 3-phase program, and I guess I have to update my slide again. They keep changing these numbers. I think one of the agencies just recently bumped up their limits to 300,000. So in the first phase, it's up to $300,000. The second phase, now it's up to $2 million. And the third phase is the commercialization phase. Let me explain these. They break the program into phases so they can give you a small amount of money at the beginning to prove the feasibility of your idea. And then they give you a larger amount of money so that you can do further research and develop it to the point where it can be commercialized. And then the third phase, in most cases, the agencies are not going to fund the third phase, but the expectation is that you will carry this on to commercialization. So when they review phase 1 proposals, when they review phase 2 proposals, one of the things they're going to be thinking about and asking and wanting to see for this company, is this company going to be able to commercialize this? Because if not, then they'll not be scoring very high in this competitive process. So it is a 3-stage program, 3-phase program. Having said that, the agencies have, or some of the agencies have now implemented situations where you can do what's called a fast track. And in fast track, you could propose both a phase 1 and phase 2. If you've never done it before, that's a very daunting process to try to essentially prepare both a phase 1 and phase 2 proposal if you've never done an SBIR before. But it is possible to do a fast track. And some of the agencies are also looking at doing a direct to phase 2. So that's the outline of how the program works. And we can ask questions about that later if you'd like. In phase 1, you're going to be doing a technical proposal, but you're also going to be discussing in your application what the market opportunity is here, because you're talking about solving some problem for which you can create a business so that there's a market opportunity. So they're not going to be just looking at your technology. They're going to be looking at the market opportunity. They're going to be looking at your project team. They're going to be looking at your environment. What does that mean? That means the resources that you have, the facilities, the staff, and so forth, the whatever partnerships you might have. And then lastly, the budget. You'll be preparing a budget. So for a phase 2 application, in addition to those things, you'll be doing a report on what the results were from phase 1. In other words, presumably in phase 1, you've gathered enough data to make a strong and compelling argument that that this is in fact feasible and has good both technical and commercial merit. So a phase 1 report, and you'll be doing a specific and a detailed commercialization plan. That might be anywhere from 10 to 15 pages. It varies with the different agencies. But you'll, in addition to your technical proposal, you'll be doing a commercialization plan. And then, of course, the other elements that I discussed before. And then finally, in phase 3, you'll be carrying the technology on to commercialization. And that's the expectation of the agencies. And in some cases, the agencies do have follow-on funding. And I would say specifically in the Department of Defense, especially if you're developing something that they seriously need and it's urgent, there could be additional funding. In addition to that, if you're National Institutes of Health and you're developing something, for example, a new drug, and it requires significant clinical testing, there are programs that National Institutes of Health have to augment the funding for clinical trials. And those are just examples of some of the follow-on funding. But let me just reiterate, in most cases, there's not funding for phase 3, but the expectation is that you are in fact going to take this on to commercialization. Now, let's talk about if this is a fit for me. So I'll walk through a little test here. There's some criteria I'll discuss with you if you want to talk to me about if SBIR is a fit for you. We'll talk about the topic that you're whatever your concept is. We'll talk about your eligibility, you and your company's eligibility for the program. We'll talk about your story, and I'll get into that in a minute, but you have to be able to tell a compelling story to be able to get to score well on your application. And finally, we'll talk about the team. This is a very essential part of being successful in this program, is having a good, strong team. So let me go through these one at a time. First of all, we have to find out whether your topic is a fit for something that an agency is interested in. And I said it's very broad, but it's still very important. And sometimes it can be a daunting process. I told you there was like 1,500 topics one year when I checked this out. But we have to see what your topic, what your technology is. Every good project starts with a great big idea. I don't mean a little idea, I mean a great big idea, and it has to be both innovative and significant. And I spent a little bit of time talking about innovation on the first slide, but again, innovative, National Science Foundation, for example, defines innovation as technical risk, something that has high technical risk. High risk, high reward are the kinds of things that they would like to fund. And they call innovation intellectual merit, but every agency will call it something different, but these are essentially the concepts. It has to be innovative and it has to be significant. Significant really just means that if it's successful, it can have a big impact in the marketplace. If it's National Institutes of Health, it can have a big medical impact. If it's Department of Energy, it can have a big impact on energy and environment and so forth. And then after we discuss what your topic is, what your concept is, what your idea is, we can see whether it's a good fit for SBIR or STTR, what agencies are they interested in, what are their deadlines, what are the requirements, and so forth. So the first thing we have to discuss and you have to determine is your topic, is your idea a good fit for what some agency is looking for? Secondly, we want to find out whether your company is eligible. Now, there's legal rules and then there's practical considerations. So first of all, you have to be a for-profit company located in the United States. The company has to be owned greater than 50% by a U.S. citizen or permanent resident aliens or domestic concerns. Or in some cases, some of the agencies are now allowing venture-backed businesses to be eligible for the SBIR program. So in fact, you already have funding from a venture capital fund or a hedge fund or private equity firm that's larger that's large enough to be considered not a small business. You still might be eligible, and that's something we would have to check on a case-by-case basis. But I just wanted to throw that out there. You might be eligible even if you already have some venture capital. And then again, I mentioned before, a small business is less than 500 employees. Now, these are the legal considerations, or most of them, but then there's some practical things for you to think about. As a company, you need to have staff and facilities to be able to execute on a program like this. It can't just be a one person with an idea. You really have to already have staff, or you can identify staff, the right people, the right expertise, and identify the right facilities that you could lease if you don't own them yourself, to be able to execute on the program. So you need to have staff and facilities. You need to be prepared. You need to be able to prepare a scholarly document. When I say scholarly document, I'm talking about a proposal that's going to be competitive with people who in some cases write proposals for a living. So I'm talking about university researchers there, for example. You have to be prepared to write a scholarly document, something that's logical, something that builds a good solid case for your project, something that has references and data and graphs and so on and so forth. You have to have the skills within your team to be able to prepare that document. And then you have to be able to show that you can execute a peer-reviewed caliber research project. And you can understand what that means. That means something that would be eligible for publication in a peer-reviewed journal if you got to that. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I'm just saying you have to be able to have the skills and the capabilities and resources within your company to be able to execute on that caliber of a research project. So that's the eligibility. Now let's talk about the story. You need to be able to tell a story that goes something like this. I've identified that there's this very serious need or this very significant problem that exists out there in the marketplace or the world, in the medical world, wherever it might be. There's a very significant need, and people have been trying to solve this for a while, but it's a very difficult problem to solve, and no one's been able to do it. But I've got this insight, or I made this discovery, or I have this invention. I had this idea of how to solve that problem. And if I'm successful, if this works, if my idea works, it could be very, very significant. It could solve this problem and make a lot of money and do whatever other impact it could be, well, medically, environment, energy, whatever. But there's still 2 or 3 research questions I have. In other words, I've done enough work to see that, yeah, it kind of makes sense, but there's still 2 or 3 clear things that I can define, that if I could just show these, if I could just answer these technical issues, solve these technical issues, or answer these 2 or 3 research questions, then I know that I'll be able to prove that this is feasible, and it's both technically feasible and it will succeed in a way that will have commercial merit. And so at the end of it, if it's brought to market, it will be a high impact commercial product. Now, if you can tell a story like that with your idea, then you probably could write a competitive proposal, a competitive SBIR proposal. Now, the last consideration is, do you have the right team? Do you have the team to be able to be competitive in this for this proposal? Well, the most important person is the principal investigator, called the PI, principal investigator, PI in the language there of the agencies. The principal investigator is the person that's going to direct the project. They're going to have, they might not be the one with the most technical knowledge. There might be specialists, but this person is going to be highly trained and really understand. They're going to understand the market. They're going to understand the technology, what the competition is in the technology, and they're going to be skilled enough in the technology world to be able to direct this project. So they're going to be, and they are going to have experience already running a research project, or show that they can run a research project. And the person who's the PI, you know, again, the most important person you name on your team on this application, most of the time the employee is the employee of the small business. Now, it doesn't have to be a full-time employee, but their primary employment must be with the small business. Primary employment means 51% or greater. In other words, if someone has a half-time appointment at a university or a half-time appointment somewhere else, they won't be eligible to be PI because their primary employment must be with the company in order to be the PI. And the reason I say usually is because in the case of an STTR project, some of the agencies will allow you to have the university person act as the PI for the project. But under most cases, it's an employee of the small business. So there's the most important person you've got to be able to name to your team to be competitive for the SBIR. And then you need an additional scientific and technical team of skilled technicians, scientists, and so forth, people that you can name. They may or may not be part of your company at the time of the proposal, but they need to be part. If you get an award, they need to be part of your company at the time of the award. You need to be able to identify them, right? That is. And you can collaborate with consultants, with university researchers. You can have other consultants for marketing, technical, and business. But the point being, technical consultants can contribute to the project, but you're not going to be able to get funding. You're not going to be able to pay for marketing or business development under an SBIR project. So that's a team. Those are the four things we can discuss with you to determine whether this is a good fit for you, whether you want to go forward. And again, if you've not done this before, this can be a daunting process. I tell people to plan on spending 100 or 120 hours on putting together a proposal if you've never done it before. If you've done it before, then you can do it quicker because you know the ropes. But you need to plan on spending a significant amount of time putting together an application. So what are some of the things you can do to get started? Well, one of the good things you can do is attend a national SBIR conference. They're back doing conferences again after 2020. And these are very good. And the reason they're good is every single agency will have a representative, or several, in some cases, several representatives. They'll speak from the podium to talk about what research they're interested in. There'll be sessions on how to write a good proposal, how to write a budget, how to do this and that. There'll be many sessions. And you'll be able to schedule a one-on-one meeting with someone from the agency, from the Department of Defense. Very difficult to meet with them, but if you go to a national conference, you can schedule a time to meet with somebody from the Department of Defense and so forth. So another thing you do is review that website I told you about on the first slide, SBIR.gov, and the tutorials. One thing you can do is research previously funded projects, and you can do some research online yourself to find out what they've already funded in this area, and that could be helpful and useful for you. If you start to get serious about it, one of the first things you should do is read the entire solicitation carefully. so you know what the expectations are for the application. And then I always recommend to people that they speak with the agency technical topic manager. And the solicitations will usually, I would say in all cases, they will identify a contact that you can speak with. And my recommendation is always to write up a small summary, ask for a phone conversation with these people so you can talk with them and really find out exactly what they're looking for. You can discuss your ideas, see if it's a good fit for their program. And oftentimes you can talk to the person and say, oh, it's not really a good fit for my program, but it would be for such and such, and they can refer you to someone else who is more relevant. So it's always a really good idea to talk to the customer before you write the proposal. I would say plan to spend 8 to 12 weeks to complete the application, maybe not full time, but I told you, plan on spending 100 to 120 hours on it. And sometimes it takes that much time because there are registrations you have to do for your company that sometimes just take time. There are things that take time. If you have a subcontract to a university, that takes time to get those things in place. I would recommend people write letters of support you're allowed to attach letters of support to your application. Well, those take time. So I'd say plan on targeting a deadline that's out there, 8 to 12 weeks at least. And then I would also say, if you've not done this before, get help. Just get help. I mean, that's what we're here for, is to help, give help and guidance. We've been through it so many times that we, know where some of the traps are, and we can do things probably in 5 minutes that would take you hours to do. So just help us, let us help you if you can. So what we can do in the New Jersey Small Business Development Center tech team, we can test your fit. We can find out if this is a good program for you, and we can do that relatively quickly. We can identify agencies and solicitations and topics that would be a good fit for you. Again, I say that's a daunting process if you don't know where to start, and we can do it very quickly. And we'll help you do it. We're not going to do it all for you. We're going to help you do it so you learn how to do it yourself. We can discuss proposal strategy, and it's very important for you to nail down very early in the discussion what are your aims for this project? What's the scope of this project? What research are you actually going to do? What are you going to try to accomplish? That's the most important thing to begin your strategy. And then we'll help you think about the significance. You have to bring a very compelling argument for why should we do this? Why is this significant? And that's very important to think through those arguments. And then lastly, you have to put together a budget, a work plan to make sure that you can do what needs to be done within the budget constraints that they have. And we can help you think through that process as well. Finally, when you get around to writing proposals, we can review those draft proposals and give you feedback on them. And one of the things we've implemented over this past 12 months is a pre-submission review panel. We convene people who are experienced reviewers, and they about 3 weeks in advance of one of the major deadlines, they review and score your proposal just like it's a mock review. It's just like you would be scored by the agency, and give you feedback within a couple of days so that you have time to make any revisions or changes to your proposal. And that's a very, very valuable thing that we've just implemented this year. So those are things we can do. So as a wrap up, I would just say that this is a big opportunity for non-dilutive funding if it's a fit for your company and it's strategic for you at this time in your company. And it's going to take some significant effort, and we can help you with it. So with that, I'm going to open it to questions. We have, I guess, 10 minutes or so to answer some questions. So
We do, and we'll take the questions in the order that we receive them. So first is from Luca, who asks, STTR needs a partnership with a US university, or other universities like in the EU are accepted as well?
no, these would be US. All the money for an SBIR has to be spent in the United States.
Next question from Cedric. If you partner with the New Jersey University, does the university co-own the IP if you and your business has done 90% of the research?
No, if it's funded by the SBIR program, then they will be a subcontractor to you. I mean, the funding does not go to the university directly. The funding all goes to the small business. So, and the agencies say that you own it. So then there'll be a subcontract to the university in which you can negotiate whatever IP ownership rights that you want to negotiate. But you own, if it's funded by the government to you, you own it. Now that's different. I mean, if it's funded by the university, if the university is directly funded by the government, then the university does own it. That is true. But these SBIR awards do not go directly to the universities. They go to the small business, and then you would subcontract to the universities and negotiate the IP terms yourself.
Thank you. Muhammad asks, can you jump to phase 2 without going through phase 1?
For some of the agencies, you can. And what I would say is you better have the equivalent of a phase 1 in terms of research, data, graphs. You need to have substantial research, basically the equivalent of that $250,000 or whatever phase 1 research to be able to go directly to phase 2. And not every agency has that program, but some of the agencies do. And some of them experimented with it and then dropped it because what they found was that, well, the companies really didn't have what they needed for, to go directly to phase 2. So the answer is yes, but it's a qualified yes. It's possible for some agencies. And it's one of those things that you would discuss with the program manager at the agency. Tell them, hey, this is the background I have. Do you think this would be good to go direct to phase 2? And they'll be straight with you and tell you whether they think, no, I think it'd be better to go with phase 1, or yeah, it looks like you're in good shape to go to direct to phase 2. Okay.
All right. Question from Anonymous. Do we have help in putting the technical plan and the phase 1 report? Anonymous, I'm assuming you're asking if NJSBDC Tech team can help you with that.
I mean, we can provide guidance and review of documents, but we're not really funded to be the writers. I mean, the company has to look at developing their own in-house capability to be able to write the reports and so forth. If you don't have that capability, then that's one of the things that that would make you less eligible, let's say, for an SBIR grant. So we can help with it, but we're not going to write it. We're not going to be the primary authors of any reports or proposals.
Exactly. We can certainly coach you through them. We can certainly help you with submissions and resubmissions, providing comments and such, but we cannot write them for you. Next question is from Angela. What about phase 3 being a contract vehicle to pursue support opportunities?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that question.
Angela asks, what about phase 3 being a contract vehicle to pursue support opportunities?
Phase 3. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Phase 3 is
like
usually not funded by the agencies, so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
It's okay. Angela, in this case, we recommend that you reach out and request counseling from the tech team. And if it warrants a counseling session, then we'll certainly reach out to you. Anonymous asks, is this funding only for technology or also available for a community health benefit service?
Well, I didn't get the acronym. What's the acronym?
They're saying the funding, so I'm assuming they're asking for the SBIR and STTR funding. So is that available only for technology, or also available for community health benefit services?
Oh, no, it's only for technology development. It's only for technology development. In fact, you can't even use it for marketing or business development or patents
Yep.
or anything that
Yep.
are associated with technology development. Specifically for technology research.
R&D. Jared asks, do you have any tips to help a company identify opportunities for innovation that an agency will be willing to buy?
Wow. That sounds like a real fishing expedition, doesn't it?
It does. I think it's something.
I mean, if you Google any of the agencies, like for example, National Institutes of Health, SBIR topics, or you Google DOD SBIR topics, or whatever agency you think, might be relevant, you'll be able to find a whole list of topics, and you can kind of peruse that list and see if see if there's anything there that's a good fit for what your capabilities are. And then we can have a discussion about it. But I think you should, rather than just kind of making it that open-ended, that you could do a little bit of homework first and just Google the topics that the agencies are interested in, and see what if there's something there that rings a bell for you, and then we can talk about it.
Exactly. All you have to do is just go to Google, type in, like, for example, DOE, NIH, whatever topic, like David says. And those things, I was just doing this day with Chris yesterday, and as soon as you type those things, the websites immediately come up. So honestly, that's the best way to research. All right. And if I took it as like this going into a little bit of procurement, so if you're interested in, like, procurement and certifications and things like that, we can help with that. The tech team won't help you with that, but NJSBDC, our other services, can certainly help you with procurement.
Right.
Whole different topic though. We do have webinars and counseling for that. All right. How to find national SBIR conferences. Google, honestly. Google them. I know, Dave, you have to go at 1, so last question for you. Let's see. I'm just kind of trying to sort through these questions. And I was told the initial write-up is a page and a half talking about your idea and why it will have an impact. Is that true? This was in reference to NSF funding.
Yeah.
The intro document is to be approved and followed by a detailed proposal, say about 15 pages length.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's the procedure for NSF. There's a form, again, NSF, SBIR, you can Google it, and it's called a project pitch. So you can Google NSF, SBIR project pitch, and there'll be a form that you fill out. It turns out to be like a page and a half of a write-up about your idea, and then they'll review it, and they will then invite you to submit prepare an application. And for NSF, they're the only ones that do this. But for the NSF, you have to be invited by them to submit a proposal. But that is exactly the process that you described there.
Got it. All right. Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much. I want to be respectful of your time, so feel free. And I'll just answer some questions that I see people are asking for, just like general questions on what we can help with, so I can help answer those questions.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you need to leave in the meantime, certainly understandable.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
If you think we've got them all, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I'll look forward to talking to some of you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so we do have, let me just share my screen real quick again. All right. So some questions that we do have that I can help answer. Okay, so one, please provide some tips for a successful application to someone who has never done this before. Nelly, I worked with the tech team. I've been part of it. Something that I can say is that I don't consult for the tech team, but I've been in the background. What I would advise is that you please reach out to the tech team and register for counseling because it's really broad. There is like 10, 11 agencies that you really have to be mindful of. There's different application and processes for different, each individual agency that you need to keep in mind when applying. So please, ask for a consultation, and the consultant will be able to help you and discuss this with you in detail. Okay, how to find SBIR conferences. I think you should Google and then just try to see what you can find the best. I'm sorry I won't be able to answer and go through everything, but any general questions that I can help answer, I will try. Do we need to be based in New Jersey to be able to use the mock review program? I am interpreting this as if the mock review program as like the NJSBDC Tech team. I'm not sure if you're referring to someone else, but if you're referring to the tech team, our tech team, then if you are a New Jersey resident or you are a business owner in New Jersey, then we can certainly help you. However, you can reach out to SBDCs if you're located somewhere else outside of New Jersey, because it is a nationwide program, as Dave had mentioned. Then just go to your state, name of your state, SBDC, and it will come up. There are I-Corps programs throughout, like Mid-Atlantic region, Northeast region. So if you're located somewhere else, then you can also just type, the name of your state and I-Corps hub. Quincy asked, are submissions and conversations to or with NJSBDC confidential to protect IP, or is it public info since federal and state funding is utilized? Excellent question. We always get this question. All our conversations with you during consulting are confidential. They're all confidential. We as consultants, when we work with NJSBDC, we are required to sign agreements that all our conversations, whether they're regarding IP or just talks about marketing or QuickBooks or accounting or whatever it is, they all need to stay confidential and they are not shared with anyone else. Thank you for that question. Wenjun asks, does NJ has assistant team for this SBIR application? If not, how can we contact David Linz agency or any other agencies? So Dave is part of our tech team. You can contact him, try to reach out to him by requesting counseling on this screen that I'm sharing. All you have to do is go here, put in your name, which county you're from in New Jersey, and refer to this webinar, and we'll do our best to reach out to you. Let's see. What type of support or resources can you offer if a company is trying to obtain a patent? Clarence asks that. We can help you with that, and NJSBDC can help you with that. We can provide coaching and counseling. I don't know the details, so I cannot answer anything specifically. But again, request counseling, please. And do you review project pitches? We can review them, yes. Will you be emailing a copy of the recording? We will not email you, but you can find it online here on our YouTube channel or our events page right here, Small Business Webinars. We have tons of our webinars recorded that are available. So this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on this website or our YouTube channel in 1 to 2 business days. And when this pop-up occurs, when you would visit the website, I highly recommend that you sign up, because I am biased, but I think our website and our newsletters are great resources to stay updated. Okay, some other questions are a little specific. I am not an expert, so I will refrain from answering those. And that concludes our Q&A session. I did my best. I hope we were able to answer. If we were not able to answer your questions, then please request counseling. I do want to show this website. Like I said, I am biased, but I think our website is a great resource if you just take 5 to 10 minutes out of your day today or any other day to go through this, then I think you'll find value. I did show this website. This is our tech team website, njsbdc.com/tech team altogether. And yeah, just explore for a couple of minutes and you can see that, you know, we've been doing this for a while now. Tech team is a recent team that we've established in the past 1.5 years, but we've received great feedback and we're, you know, of course, doing everything we can to improve day by day. And FAQ. All right. So next slide, we've gone through our Q&A presentation. Our next session is on Tuesday on January 16th. Yes, January 16th from 12 to 1:30. Unlock business registration secrets with NJSB support. If you're already here, that means that you already have a business, maybe an LLC. But this is mostly for our registration process. So anyone who is an aspiring entrepreneur, you would like to register your business, then this webinar is for you. So if you have any friends or family that are trying to become an entrepreneur, then refer them to this webinar. And this is our session 9 in that series. Usually one of our consultants, Vanessa, does it, but she's unavailable that day. And in her place, one of our capital team consultants, the wonderful Ryan Silvestri, will be taking over for that day. So I hope you can join us. If not, then a recording is always available out there. So NJSBDC Tech Team helps innovators grow, no cost pitch to proposal consulting, training and events starting at $0, and exclusive small business tech resources. Thank you for sticking with us for this long. And we always appreciate your support. We always appreciate your warm surveys, comments, anything that you have to share. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next webinar or in the counseling session. All right, have a wonderful day. Take care and see you next time.